Good morning. We'll get started in just a few moments. We'll let everyone get into the webinar program. And good morning. If you're just joining us, we'll be getting started in just a moment. All right, again, good morning, everyone. We will be getting started with our digital marketing program, what it is, why you need it, and how to hire a tech partner. That's coming up in just a few moments. All right, let's get underway. Good morning. My name is Garrett Sheehan. I'm President and CEO of the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce and Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce. So excited to have you here with us today for digital marketing, what it is, why you need it, and how to hire a tech partner. It's definitely something we think a lot about here at the Chamber, especially through this last year. Before we get underway, we want to thank all of our investors here in the Chamber who help support us throughout the year. Looking at our premier investors, also our key investors, and all of our principal investors. We could not put on the programming that we have put on, and especially the programming that we're continuing to do without their support over not only this year, but several years. Now, today's program is presented by two of our councils, the Technology Council, presented by Comcast Business, and our Small Business Council as well. First, I want to welcome in Amy Pacelli, who is an account executive with SphereGen and currently the chair of our Technology Council. Amy?
Thank you, Garrett, and thank you to everybody attending this. I think the topic today I'm particularly excited about because we're both going to educate the audience on how to choose a tech partner and also kind of connect them with some local resources. So I think it's going to be great. And that's really what the Tech Council is all about. We're about both educating and connecting people with technology. So very excited to be here. And if you have any interest in being on Tech Council or being involved in a program like this, please reach out to me.
All right, thank you, Amy, appreciate it. And now it's my pleasure to welcome in Bryant George. Bryant is a financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual, and he's chair of our Small Business Council. Bryant, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
We're great.
Am I able? So, as a Small Business Council, we are the boots on the ground for the Chamber. And we are here to let the Chamber know what the business owners need and the Chamber partners and how they can help deliver timely and impactful resources to the business owners and the Chamber partners. With that, we've been in this pandemic for greater than a year, and technology has kind of taken over most businesses to this point. Whether we're working from home, everybody thinking about the webinar and being able to Zoom back and forth, being able to continue to conduct those meetings. The other piece to that is we're not able to get out and face-to-face and network with people. A lot of what the Chamber does is that boots on the ground and people actually having handshakes, which are now banned. So being able to have that platform to be able to market ourselves is becoming vitally important, because when everybody's locked at home, we're looking to our phone to find out where we can find X, Y, and Z, versus being able to ask someone that we have a breakfast or at a mingle or a business after hours. So timely for having the technology and marketing and to be able to get our name and our platform out there. I personally have benefited. My company has made a $400 million investment into technology over the last 6-7 years. So when COVID hit, we were actually in position to have our greatest second quarter ever in 2020. And that was because our technology platform was in place at that time and not having to play catch up. Now it's the whole marketing side of things that looking to progress and help grow our business. And I think it's going to be a great added benefit to the chamber members to know where to start to find the tech partner that would best suit your business needs. So I'm excited about this council to be able to put on this event for us today.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. And thank you again to everyone on the Tech Council and Small Business Council. Again, the Tech Council presented by Comcast Business. And it's my pleasure now to turn things over to Tamika Miller, who is our Vice President of Events and Content Production. And she's going to moderate us through here, digital marketing, what it is, why you need it, and how to hire a tech partner. Tamika?
Thank you, Garrett. Okay. So today we'll spend a few minutes exploring the world of digital marketing. And in my opinion, as a marketer, I think digital marketing is one of the coolest aspects of marketing. Digital marketing really does utilize the internet, online technologies, online media, and platforms to promote products and services, of course. But digital marketing, if approached the right way, allows you to identify and target a highly specific audience and send that audience a personalized or many personalized, high converting marketing messages. So in today's fast-paced world, where consumers and customers often lack time and focus, digital marketing, and I hope that by the end of this session, you'll find is absolutely necessary. So terms like website marketing, social media, email marketing, content marketing, video advertising, pay-per-click advertising. These are all widely used terms and used to reach consumers and customers. Yet for a business that's relatively new or trying to get to a new level, it can be very daunting and very intimidating. And so for many businesses, as we'll learn today, in many cases, you do need to hire a consultant. So we've got Donnell and Jennifer and Jeff, who are on our panel today. Donnell is the co-creator of Aligning LLC. We have Jennifer DeRosa, who's the owner of the TechCare LLC. And we have Jeff DeSimone, and he's a media director with Digital Surgeons. So we're going to talk to all three. We'll start with Donnell. And if you can each just spend a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, please start our discussion by telling us about what you do really well at your firm. What is your core competency, your primary role? As we think about this world of digital marketing and what should come first, what should come second, what is your primary role and what you do really, really well at your firm? So Donnell, if you'll start us.
All right, you guys can see and hear me pretty well?
Yes, we can.
All right, how you guys doing? Donnell, Durden, as you said, I'm with Aligning, smart company. Our core competency is video production. And video production could, span across a bunch of, basically all platforms that as we know now, especially it's been highlighted during COVID because, that's the best way we're translating. I mean, the way communicating with each other is through video. So our core competency is video production, which is a technical skill, but the most important part of what we do inside video production is storytelling. So whether we're dealing with an individual or a brand, like most of you guys are a brand or a company, what you want to do is communicate what your brand story is, or is, if it's a sale or if it's, anything you're trying to communicate to your audience, which is your potential customers or return customers, we do that through video. And since this webinar, I'm going to spend more time, I'm eager to get into the Q&A portion, but when you're talking about when you're going to hire someone like me or a video content person, the first thing you need to do is do some research. Go look and see what other videos look like. Go, get on YouTube and see what you like. Look at the best stuff. Look at the worst stuff. Look at and also remember we're all consumers. You know, we spent most of our life being consumers, you know, so we need to understand, what does it take for us to have enough trust in a brand to pay for stuff or buy things, or what does that journey look like for me as a customer, and kind of be cognizant of that when it's your turn to communicate to your customers. So the first part is your story. Like, what is your story? And then what is your intent? What's the goal? Really know that. What is your goal? Is that to increase revenue? Is that for brand awareness? Like, know your goal. And if you don't know your goal when you initially engage, that's one of the most important parts after the story, because the story is you know what it is, but what is your goal? Because if you don't know your goal, a great video is not going to help you, because you don't know where you need help. And then the third thing, it goes to the research aspect of, you know, the aesthetic. How does it look? Is it pleasing to the eye? Is it something that you would look at and say, that's nice? Is it, you know, it's almost like, is it good enough to where you don't notice things, where it's just seamless and it looks good, and the focus is not on the video production portion of it, but the story? You know, it's usually the better the production, the more focused on the story that you're able to get, and you're able to translate or communicate best to whoever your audience is. So basically what we do at Aligning is we tell stories. We kind of got over the hump of the technical. That's the part you leave in our hands when it comes to, you know, providing content for you, because that's how you get to the aesthetic look, you know. And then the goal, we can even help you work through your goal. What are you trying to do? Do you have a sale going on? Or you just want people to know about your brand? But then that story, we leave that part is where it's up to you to really know your story, understand your story, and know what you want your customers to know. You know, how do you want your relationship to be with your customers or your potential customers? Or how do you want to, you know, show gratification to the people that have supported you? Like, that's where you want to be the most intentional, because even the lowest production value type of video with a really high value story or a genuine story could translate. And we see that with like TikTok, where TikTok is a marketing tool and it's video, but you don't need me for that. You know what I mean? That's something you can turn your phone around and add that to the mix. And I think that's what we'll talk about going on, because, and I'm not going to spend this time showing examples. I'd rather do a Q&A, and if people are interested in like seeing some examples, I can send them directly. We're also rebuilding our site, so that's perfect. I might need to highlight Jennifer because my site was hacked earlier this year. But yeah, that's what we do. I don't know who exactly we're moving it on to Jen or my man Jeff, but I look forward to talking to you guys later in the event.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And let's talk to Jennifer next to see, Jennifer, what your core competency is and how you fit into this thing we're calling the formula of digital marketing. Jennifer?
Sure. Thank you. And thank you everyone for attending today. I hope you come away with some piece of information that's valuable for you and your business. So what we do at TechCare, we've been building websites. Personally, I've been building websites since the mid 90s when there was less than 3,000 or 4,000 domains registered in the entire world. And our team of people is awesome. And, you know, a lot of times we've been remote, and then we had an office, and during COVID, we ended up closing that because no one was coming, and we're still working just the same. Probably all of us on this panel, you'll find, are still working that way, and hopefully you're able to work that way. And part of everyone being at home, you know, is all this digital media, websites, social media, video is important. All of this is important. So hopefully you'll take some things away. Our core competency is WordPress websites. We build on the WordPress platform, and we build WooCommerce websites. If you've heard of that, it's an e-commerce platform that now comes with WordPress. And Tamika, should I go over some of the things that you should ask a web developer now, interview questions, or do you want me to wait for that?
If you want to do some of that now, you can.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen, and I'm going to kind of whiz through some of these, but these are, and let me set the stage for this, okay? Because I've seen, since I've been in this business for so long, almost since the inception, I've seen a big change of how people develop their websites and who they hire. And I'm going to give you a really good example. You can do your website yourself, and you can hire someone that, maybe your website looks great, it looks fine, but the back end of it may be a mess. And I'm going to give you a good example. My husband and I just bought a fixer upper, and we had electricians in because there was a lot of issues. And the electricians went up into the attic, and we had this string of lights, and they worked fine. You turned them on, turn them off. They looked fine. They probably worked for years. They went up there and found out that they were wired with speaker wire. Apparently that's a fire hazard, I guess. And immediately they said, we have to disconnect these. So this is the thing. You can build a website that looks great on the outside to everybody in the world, but on the back end may have serious issues that you may be having a potential fire right there. And that's what you want to avoid. And a lot of these questions, people don't know what to ask a web developer. They don't know what could be the pitfall. So I just want to share a couple of very specific questions that you should ask a web developer. And if you don't write this down or whatever, you can contact me afterwards and I can give them to you. So I'm going to just share my screen here with you. So basically your goals.
We're also recording this too, so.
Oh, good. Perfect. So you can watch it again. So first of all, we want to build a website that's up to date, easy to navigate, is emotionally intriguing, and it either sells we can gather leads, or it sells our products and services. And we want to do it with proper SEO and white hat practices. And that means legit. Like Google has things that are okay and not okay. Okay is white hat, not okay is black hat. There used to be a lot of black hat. Google's trying to get through all of that all the time, changing the algorithm. So we want to do it white hat practices, and we want to do it in a way that's going to grow with your company. Okay. So a first thing you can ask is, how long have you been doing this? I've run across a lot of people in my industry who literally just started doing this. And if you want, you should know, because if you want to be their guinea pig, and maybe pay a little bit less money, then fine. But know that you're going into it that way. That don't think you're hiring an expert when maybe you're hiring someone who's just learning on the job. Okay. What background does this person have? And how involved are they on online forums? There's a lot of people in our industry. We all talk on Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups and other places. Is the person you're going to be hiring dealing, is this part of their life, or are they just trying to make a buck on the side? Ask to see some of the work. This is kind of what Donnell was talking about. Look and see, do you like their style? They may be totally qualified. You may not like their style, or you may love their style. So look at some of their past work that they've done. Ask them if they have references. Are they built using modern designs? And make sure that they're unique too. I've come across different people and meeting at different places. And this is one trade show. I met these people. This is in the Wayback Machine, but this was their website here. And then I met another person at another trade show, and this was his website. Okay, so are they building you something on a template that looks exactly the same as everyone else? What are you paying for that? If you're paying a little bit of money, maybe you don't mind. If you're paying more money, do you want to have a website that looks exactly like somebody else's? Do they send their development out to other agencies? You should know if it's going overseas. Here at TechCare, we don't do that. I just got a call right before this call, someone who wanted us to send all our development to them, which may be fine. But the problem is here, we don't want to backtrack. If there's a problem, I don't want to go spend all my time and your money as a client figuring out what the last person did. We want to do everything the same way so we can all work on something. I had a client that came back to me. She moved and she came back to me after several years, said, I need your help. And she found out that the person that was, sorry, someone's calling. The person that was that did their website, she paid a lot of money to. He was a floor salesman, but he decided he could start doing websites. And I did a little bit of research and found out this is the person who, because his name was in the administration, $4 an hour. You can be rest assured that floor salesperson did not upcharge maybe $2 and charge $6 an hour to my client. So you should know who is doing the work on the back end. This is a big one. Will you have administrator access? This is a big one in our industry. There's a lot of agencies that believe, no, I'm not going to give my clients administrator access because they're going to screw it up, and I'm better than everyone else and I can handle it. And then there's a lot of people like, our agency, we're like, no, if you hire a decorator to come decorate your house, interior designer, are you allowed to move your furniture afterwards? Absolutely. You paid for it. Or if you buy a car, can you put on seat covers or, you know, whatever you want, dress it up, tint the windows? I don't know, change the stereo? Yes, because you bought it. So you need to ask this question because a lot of people will not give you administrator access. Just quickly, you should ask about their themes if they're on WordPress, if they're doing everything custom. If they're doing everything custom, who's going to support it later on? You want support going forward. Backup's a big one. Then I'll and I'm going to talk about this next one. Backup, don't assume you're getting your site backed up. Most people that come to us with a website are not backing up. Backup should be offsite, should back up automatically every day. You can't just back up the files. You have to back up the database as well. If you have a website right now and you're watching this video, after this, when this ends, 5 minutes afterwards, you need to look up and find out what kind of backup you have. And do not assume you have backup. And then if you have backup, who does the restore? How easy it is? Is it $300, $500? What is going to be the deal? If you like playing with fire and like being a risky business, then that's fine. I am risk averse. I do not like that. We install backup, really good backup on all of our websites. So you need to find out about that. And then Donnell just talked about this malware. I even have malware protection. You should have malware protection. It's out there. You can get hacked. I mean, look at what just happened with the pipeline. Okay. Like, let's have something on your website that protects you and is easy to clean, that you don't have to pay thousands of dollars to get your website back up. And it can be back up in the same afternoon. So that's an important question. Who's going to write content for the pages? And I just want to show you, I had people come up to me. Then they were showing me at a trade show and they were showing me who they used. And these were the words on the website. I copied and pasted in the website. We understand that the outdoor aesthetic of your home or business is important. Look at all of these websites. We understand that the outdoor aesthetic of your home or business is important as your interior, that your outdoor aesthetic of your home or business is important as your interior. These are all what is plagiarism. It's plagiarism. University of South Carolina, the president resigned last night because he used a quote from someone else and did not say who it was from in the commencement speech this weekend. And now he has no job. This is plagiarism. So if who's writing your content, are they plagiarizing? Are they writing it uniquely for you? This happens. It's real. Don't think that it doesn't happen. And then ask about optimizing the website. Who's optimizing it? Is someone going to be, is that included in the price? A lot of times it's not, and that's okay, but you should know. Do I have to pay extra for that? Okay. And then I just want to touch on one more because I don't want to spend too much more time because there's a big panel, but the backlinks. Sometimes people offer you backlinks and you need to know what kind of backlinks you have. What that means is links back to your website. You see all these things, be like, oh, we can give you 500 backlinks for this price. Do you know where they're going to put your backlinks? Most likely they're going to ruin your website. They're going to ruin your domain authority if you do this. This is a client, they're called WordFarm. Someone came to me, they were paying $600 a month through Bluehost for this company to do their. Look at these words. Recently, maintainably offers possess the unmistakable anyway challenge put on people in general arrangement. That's not even a sentence. And this linked to his website. This one over here linked to his website. This one over here, like it goes on and on and on. Those are called word farms and they will ruin you. So don't buy backlinks. Find out where they're going to link. And if they say, oh, it's our secret sauce, flag, big flag, big flag. Who's going to update everything going forward, and who's going to make content changes going forward. And the last thing is accessibility. It's a big thing now. People are getting sued. Your site needs to be ADA compliant, and there are things that need to be done about that. So ask about that. These are a couple questions to ask. They're actually tangible questions, and I hope this helps you find somebody that is reputable and will do your business right.
Wow, I'm sure. And then thank you. That was good. You sent us through a quick crash course on it, but it was very, very helpful. So we heard from Donnell, who talked about video production. We just heard from Jennifer, who talked about websites, and that's her core competency. So now let's talk to Jeff. If you could share us what you do really well at your firm, and how what you do fits into digital marketing.
Yep, absolutely. So my role as the media director, I've been in media for over 8 years now. I've seen everything from the pre-planning phase to make sure you're utilizing the right channels, the right audience sets, the right data, everything through to post-sale, really understanding how the client needs to grow their business beyond that initial engagement, take them through, 4, 5, 6 year engagements that we really see this business, which in my industry is nice. It's not something we build and we hand off. It's something I get to see the growth all the way through in many instances. We call it the hockey stick effect. You come in, if you're talking about a performance company where they want to drive a certain amount of revenue, you can kind of bookmark where they are before that engagement starts. And if you are familiar with a hockey stick, you see it trend slightly upwards. And then once that media advertising comes behind it, you see a nice spike in revenue. It's really a win-win for everybody. So what we really focus on and do really well, we do a lot of awareness campaigns. We do a lot of in-store foot traffic campaigns. But I'd say the biggest thing that we're really trying to make our bread and butter is e-com performance marketing, really drive that return on ad spend, that really direct, okay, we advertise this many dollars here, and we can directly correlate it out to this boost in sales and this much revenue, making sure it's a very easy way for us to show our clients that every single dollar is not going to waste. It's actually improving their overall health of their business. And you're really just selling yourself. Every time we can grow your return on ad spend 2x, so for every dollar spent, you get $2 in revenue. It's a very easy process for us to convince, why it makes sense for you to scale that business. You spend $10,000, we get you 20. Let's see if that scale is still there. Spending 15, we get you 30, and we can help you grow as a business. From COVID, I know it was mentioned previously as how it's really reshaped digital marketing and marketing in general. I saw a statistic that it expedited digital transformation by 20 years. There's a lot of businesses like local pizza parlors that you never thought were going to put time into digital marketing, but they were left with no choice. And now that they're there, it doesn't make sense to erase that investment they made to get their website up to snuff, to get that content created, to get their exposure out there. So although the world is coming back to normal again, it isn't something that people are just going to take the pedal off now. They understand the value is there. They understand people's decision-making processes. The average attention span right now is about 6 seconds. So you can't rely on things like billboards like you used to for people to retain that messaging. You have to constantly stay in front of them, stay top of mind. And that's where the digital paid advertising comes in really well. So when you're going through that process, anything from it, if you're just trying to make people aware of a new site, all of these pieces tie in very well. At Digital Surgeons, we do run the gambit of what Jennifer and Donnell do. So I fully understand how every single piece plays a part into that general consumer journey. If you have a new site that's really effective in driving people, whatever your conversion is, or if it's just getting information, it's our job to really get that awareness out there. And to Donnell's point, if we don't have the content to grab you, we can get in front of the right people. But, you see so many ads, you're blind to a lot of it. If that content doesn't grab you, we can put all of our materials in the right places, but every single piece plays a part in that journey from, getting that initial contact with the consumer to getting them to whatever that final conversion point is. So, we really will run anything from just paid search, just paid social, traditional programmatic, connected TV, native advertising. We do offer all of that in-house. So whatever the need is, it can vary greatly in what a client will look for and how he will put that plan together. It's not as simple as just setting something live. There are steps in the funnel that you want users to take. So an awareness campaign can quickly turn into a conversion campaign. A reach campaign can just, people want to stay in front of people forever and don't have that end goal in mind. There's not really a right or wrong answer there, but where we have our greatest success and greatest measurables associated to it would be on the e-com purchase performance side, where we can tie back to return on ad spend to show those businesses that growth that they've seeked out.
Awesome. So now, if you can all turn your cameras on, let's transition to a related question. And anyone could answer this, or you all can answer this. Who is your ideal customer? So as you talked about, all the work that it might take to make sure your business is recognized or realized. And then you want, of course, depending on your need or your goal. And Donnell, I like what you talked about know your goal. That's critical for all of you. But who is your ideal customer? Like who, when you think back to all the customers you've had in the past, help us understand who your ideal customer is. And anyone can start.
Yeah, I can kick it off. For me, we really like clients that are kind of like just getting out of the startup phase. So they're still relatively small, but there's still so much excitement behind what they do. The reason we do like this is there's a little bit more freedom with the brand and on the creative side. If we get a client that's too established, we have a really strict, brand guideline to deal with that. We can't really diversify and do too much differently than what they've already done. There's a lot of safety restrictions in place that, it's almost like working the alcohol business. There's just so many rules and regulations you have to follow, restrictions, ads getting knocked down. There's a little bit of freedom with those startup companies that they look for you for that trust and for that freedom for you to really use your full expertise when you're dealing with clients that might have their own media department or marketing department. There's just a little bit of friction and, this is how we do things well. And you're coming in to just improve what we do, but don't change too much. We like the people that are really open to experimenting, trying a new platform. I know TikTok has become a really popular topic. Depending who you talk to, people have this view of where it was 18 months ago. Oh, it's, 18 and younger kids dancing on the site. That's just completely false now. It's become a really strong engine for conversions, for engagement, and actually tied for the most users on the site now at 25% of their overall demo is 35 to 44-year-olds. So if you're not staying up to speed on this stuff, it could be something that, you have a very lagging mentality on where you don't want to be. And that opportunities, came and went in a lot of instances. When you get there, you see studies come out 6 months to 12 months from now. Now everyone's talking about TikTok. Now you want to get on it. Well, guess what? When we talked about it, CPMs were $2. Now everyone's on the platform and now you're paying triple for the same amount of visibility. So really just that trust in what we're working on, a product that we truly believe in. I think that's a big one that digital surgeons really stand by. We don't just want to take business for the sake of taking business. If we don't believe in the value proposition, we would be selling ourselves short to have you invest money with us if we truly don't believe that we can scale it to the magnitude that you're looking to scale it to.
Great, great. And Jennifer, what are your thoughts? Who is your ideal customer?
Our ideal customer is a customer that is excited and wants to build a website and has resources. So as we work with a lot of small business owners, and they are really excited, they come in and they pay the deposit and everything, and then nothing. And then we don't hear from them because they're too busy running their business. So, you heard running, do you run do you work in your business or on your business? We need to work with someone who is ready to work on their business. And if they can't do it, if you know you want to build a website or revamp your website, and you're not going to have the time, then either hire somebody or use somebody in your sphere of influence or someone that works for you. Maybe you have an administrative assistant or something. Delegate. Give them the responsibility to build a website because it is a little bit of work you have to do to build the website. So we want to work with a partner, or we really love working with partners that don't let a website project go dormant for a while. And also, just so you know, and this is probably the same with all three of us, we can all say that if you start a project and then something happens and a year goes by and we have to get back into it, it ends up increasing the cost of it because now things have changed, just like Jeff talked about with TikTok has totally changed, and within the past year has totally changed. If you started a project then and then you didn't do anything with Jeff and now you're like, okay, I'm ready to restart, he has to go back to the drawing board. It's more money. Same thing with Donnell. You can't start a video and later on now everything is different. So you need to don't engage until you're ready to do it, and when you're ready to do it, go for it. Work with your partner, work with your agency, get it done. You're going to have great results, but be excited and do it.
I love that. I love that. You got me motivated and charged up. And Donnell, who is your ideal customer or client?
I don't really need to speak. I feel like they said it, but just to so like Jeff and Jennifer said, so I usually run into a lot of startups, so let me do it backwards. So the issue with me in startups sometimes is some of the issues that makes a client not the best. A lot of startups are kind of tight with money, so that conversation is awkward. So it's hard to kind of extract what their resources are. So if there are any small businesses like startups listening, just be candid about what you want to spend and get that out the way so everyone can be on the same page and know exactly what they're working with, because we're all in businesses and we want to make money and we want to kind of know what we're in for. So just a candid client that's open and kind of just okay with talking about if the budget's small, let's understand that. And then maybe even we could either recommend someone that might could be a better match if the budgets don't match and things like that. Because we're essentially creatives at heart, and talking to you for a half hour, say it's a consultation, we're gonna, you know, grow some empathy for you and your situation. So if we can't help you directly, I would gladly send you to somebody who can, or, you know, try to consult. Or like, if TikTok is your road, I probably won't be the guy making the TikTok videos, but I can send you a few links that could get you started on your TikTok journey. And then maybe you could talk to Jeff about some ads and things like that. So, and they both said this word that's important, because on the flip side is, when some clients, when they do have a budget and they are beyond the startup phase, they think they could just send the bill and it's over. No, we like partners. Like you guys said, that word is partners. We like for companies to be excited about their brand, excited to collaborate. And it's not like, hey, here's my information, here's my logins or whatever, and make me something great like that video. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's possible, but sometimes that's not the ideal customer. You want to work together with people. You want this to be a journey together. Whatever the iteration, say it's the website, you got to do a change, and you know, you want it to be a collaboration rather than servant type of thing, you know. And so those are my two things. Really, just being candid about the budget and like just the scope of what you want. And like I said before, understand your goal. That's like the biggest thing. Have a good understanding of what do you want to get out of what I'm giving you. Outside of, okay, I'm going to give you a video, but what do you want from that video? What does success look like for real, in real time? Like all the way down to how many views do you want in a month? How many, like, because for me as a video guy, I can say, okay, you need to holler at Jeff. I can make you a good video, but if we're talking about analytics and I can't make that video go. You know what I mean? That's not what I do. And then again, so just know what your goals are, really, and then come into this thinking as a partner. Like, I'm just here to fill in the gaps that you can't do it because you're not good at video. You know what I mean? You're not good at using digital media to tell your story. I could do that, but you have to do the rest. You have to provide that story. I need to know that story if I'm going to be able to tell it. You know what I mean? So real partnerships in that short time that we're working together. Let's behave like partners. So
Good. No, that makes a lot of sense. And so now I think it's also helpful for people on here who might be considering hiring a tech consultant like any of you or others to help them. Can you give us examples, or can each of you talk about maybe some of the latest technology in your respective areas? So help us understand. So Donnell, you talked about, you know, research. So before they come to you, you mentioned you want them to actually go and look at videos to have in mind kind of what videos are out there. So perhaps it's helpful if you can each talk about some of the latest technology in each of your respective areas to help people with that research and help them, give them the courage to go out there and start searching themselves.
Let me start because mine is the easiest. All those platforms that we're talking about, YouTube, TikTok, just go. And the fact that we're all naturally consumers, we know what we like and we know kind of what convinces us to engage or buy things. So go back to that. Use your consumer hat. What would make me, you know, deal with, like, use my cleaning company versus the next person because I saw whatever, or whatever your business is. So yeah, mine was easy. You guys got a little more difficult.
Yeah, as far as what platforms use, you know, it can really scale from what your budget is. You know, if you're a client that's spending, you know, multi-million dollars on media a year, something like a Winmo, a Nielsen, or a Kantar could make a lot of sense, where you understand what your competition is spending. On a lower spend threshold, there's obviously tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush, which tie into some of the SEO piece as well. If you're really just building a Google search PPC program from scratch, it's good to understand where a lot of search queries are happening, understand where you can get budget, where you can get share of voice there. But also just a free tool if you're talking about on the social side. There's something called the Facebook Ads Library that makes it very easy for you to publicly see what your competitors or similar businesses that you inspire to be like, what they're advertising. That's completely free. You type in their name, it'll show what all their ads are. If you want to diversify yourself, or if you just want to, hey, I don't know really what I feel like our brand needs to be like, let me go find some inspiration. That's a good free tool to start with. From a platform standpoint, outside of just the research, obviously TikTok is an up and coming one. Things like Clubhouse, they don't have advertising yet, but it's a great space for you to either engage with similar people or become a voice that you build traction that way. If you're not familiar with Clubhouse, it's almost like chat rooms where you almost have like panelists like these just hosted on an application, search hashtags, search categories that are very applicable to whatever niche you play in. That's not a paid opportunity yet, but still a community that you can get behind and learn and understand where you fit in the grand scheme of things. And then finally, just there's a return to contextual targeting happening because Apple has come in, really limited data tracking privacy laws. You can't rely on the retargeting pixels or lookalike pixels like you once could. With those unfamiliar, those are pixels you put on their site. They understand, where users are going, what their demographics are, what sites they visit, what their psychographic nature is, and they find similar consumers to help, bring them into your funnel as well. So contextual is making a return. It's really advertising on context that really ties into key keywords for you. It's not following data pixels or anything like that. So Apple's privacy laws can't really affect that. I know this has come a little bit away from what the initial question was, but just talking about tech got me all giddy. But from a research and strategy standpoint, I would definitely start, if you're exploring social, to start with the ads library. Facebook, just Google Facebook ads library. It'll be the first thing that comes up.
Perfect. I felt your excitement.
Got me going the train in full motion.
As you're answering that question, yes. In terms of just examples, do you all have examples that you might be willing to share, or just to give people, just sometimes people are visual learners. And also I'll say to the audience, if you have questions, please put those questions in the chat at this time. And in a few moments, I'm gonna just start reading from the chat. So if you have specific questions that any of these experts can help you with, please type those questions in the chat. I do see we have one that I'll start with in a minute, but I'm wondering if each of our panelists can just, think of examples that you want to share. I don't know if you have some visual examples that you want to share, or how can you, I know that this topic, again, can be intimidating and daunting. So I'm just trying to think of ways that we can crystallize what you all have been saying and maybe give examples to people to help make what you're saying really real. So if anyone wants to do that.
Yeah, I can jump in as they're pulling things up, it looks like. So just real quickly, we had a client come to us. I know, we're talking about all this stuff. What's the right, is it the chicken before the egg? Do I have to wait to start advertising after, our content film, our website is completed? That's all stuff you want in the pipeline either way, but you don't necessarily need to wait on advertising to accomplish those things. So we have a brand here that was, doing about 10 to 15,000 in revenue, unimpeded before paid ads got involved. Some of these were new assets that we shot, but these three in the middle, that's just stock imagery that we took. And, we didn't need a full production behind that, because the rationale is, you want to build awareness first and foremost when that new site is live. I've already exposed our brand. I've already got them into our funnel that our pixels picked up on. While that site's being built, let's say we expose ourselves to 40,000 new people, that the second that site goes live, I can turn this into a retargeting campaign and make an announcement, make a really tailored message that, hey, we're rebranded, come back, look at what we're doing. There's never a bad time to start an awareness play. So, you want to have the full piece and effect there, but this is a business that we helped, increase the revenue by 300% in 6 months, solely before we even had the assets to build that stuff. Over time, because we built up that revenue, they had more money to spend on enhancing the website, enhancing the creatives. And as that hockey stick I mentioned previously, it's only continued to go upward. So all of these pieces are important, but I wouldn't, wait on one or the other while the other one's in production. It's not a problem to have those all working in silos at the same time to get to that ultimate goal. When you do one and then start the other, you're only delaying their timeline. So I do encourage you to parallel path where you can. But here's just a couple examples. We can go to the website, digitalsurgeons.com/case studies. This is all just businesses that we've helped grow. Very different objectives. This was a new vegetable bar that came out. It takes every single piece of the vegetables, no waste products. We help them get from 10 free trials to 250 free trials a day over time. So a little bit of awareness, a little bit of conversion based. Obviously, the creatives help. To Donnell's point, A lot of statistics have come out that 50% of brand lift comes from the creative execution itself. Media, about 35%. So at Digital Surgeons, I'm glad that we have the ability to control both at the same time. But all of these pieces play a very key part in your business's success.
Cool. Thank you for that. Donnell or Jennifer, who wants to? And if you don't have specific examples you want to share, then we can.
I'm
Yep.
trying to find, it just so happens telling stories, most of the videos are pretty long. So I'm trying to find a recent shorter video to play.
Okay.
I'm looking inside of, all right, so here's a video, and I kind of wanted to show kind of like what we could do with a smaller budget. This was around like $2,000 or $3,000 for this. It was a small nonprofit. They're actually going on what is called a menu for NBA players to engage with their content or support their nonprofit. So it's for a small audience, which is not a bunch of NBA players, but they're so this was just something short to get them involved. Let me see if it'll play off of Google Drive. Oh wow, there it goes. You guys see?
We did see it, but then it flashed away.
Google Drive. All right, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think it's starting to come up now. Yes.
You see,
Yes.
so, Steve Francis, he's actually on the voiceover. He's an ex-NBA All-Star. And there was really not much of a budget, so we kind of used some, we got in touch with stock, like you said, stock images, Getty, I think it's Getty. We had to get a license from Getty to use this footage, but then Steve Francis came on board and did the voiceover, but it's only a minute, so let's try it. Should be playing. Trying to streaming video over the Zoom is kind of difficult sometimes. And for some reason it's not playing. Jennifer, you want me to take a seat while you try to get your thing going? For some reason it's not playing, so let me try to do something in the background.
Sure.
I'll
So
stop.
you'll stop sharing. Yep. And then Jennifer, is there something you wanted to share? And then we'll go to our Q&As.
Sure. And I just wanted to touch on that last question that you asked about some of the things that are important. And what I just wanted to mention, like if you really want to promote or what's coming up now, technology as far as websites go is tied in. Google really cares about what's called schema markup. And there's tools that can help you or software that can help you put that on the back end of your website so that you appear like in that map. If you're a local business, you want to appear in that map. Okay. It's called a local pack. And there's tools that put coding on the back end of your website and it needs to be filled in so that Google knows what you're about. They also care about, like, if you have events. I went to a networking event yesterday. How I found it was I typed in networking events near me and up came a list of events. Okay. Google just doesn't happen to know that those are events. There's schema markup on the people's website, their personal website, that says this is the event title, this is the date, this is the price, this is the description, this is the location, this is the longitude and latitude. All of that's called schema markup. It's important to have some schema markup on your website. That's one. Number two is accessibility. You're going to hear more and more about ADA accessibility. It's in the news more and more. Your website needs to be ADA compliant for people that have vision impairment or that have lost a limb or can't use their limbs. And they need to use a screen reader. And in general, websites are not built that way out of the box. So that's another piece. And then the third piece that I wanted to bring up of new technology is, or things to be looking out. If you don't have a Google business listing or you don't have control of your Google business listing, you need to take control of that. You go to business.google.com and you take control of that. And your goal should be, if you don't have reviews right now, your goal should be by December 31st to have 100 reviews. Google cares about that, and they want to see that you're updating that your Google business listing. So if you don't have it, take control. If you do have control of it and you don't have a lot of reviews, you can create a Google review link that you can send out to your cheerleader customers that will pop right up with the stars, and people can write you a quick review, and you should ask them to leave you a review. So those are just three things I want to mention for upcoming technology. And then I'll just share quickly, one website that we worked on recently. So this is a nonprofit. They're located locally, and they help. So their messaging before, you didn't know what they did, but you can see right here their messaging: be the rescue, fight hunger, help the planet. Right away, you know that they're doing something. And right here, what we do: we rescue food, we help the environment, we create communities. So this is. And then there's some numbers to back that up. So this is an example of a website that we recently built that you need to know right away what they do, and it needs to be beautiful enough so that you stay on the website. So you want to make sure that messaging on your website right up front lets people know your core competency or the pain point that you will solve for your customers.
Beautiful. That's a great example. Really good example. So now let's go to the chat. I do see one question in the Q&A, and this is from Charles Reese, who's on. And he says, how important is it for an agency to have a target customer? I guess he means an organization to have a target customer. For example, can an agency address a small consumer business as well as a B2B technical services company?
So like I said, I think he's looking to see like an agency expertise. So like, is there a certain field that, can we do advertising for all businesses, or are there niche ones that you go to? For the most part, we can cover pretty much everything. I'd say the one niche is if you're in medical, there's a lot of agencies that specialize in the the clinic field. B2B tech is pretty easy to reach, whether that's proprietary data or just a third-party data audience we can purchase and utilize and serve ads against. But for the most part, I'd say medical is probably the only one that we would recommend, depending on what your goal is. If it's just, general awareness, we can cover it. But we had clients who wanted to drive clinic visits, and just based on the data that we have on hand versus some of these other firms that specialize in that, their data is just generally richer and more precise, that we would recommend working through someone like that for.
Good, good. And another question I have in the chat directly to me is, how do I get started if I don't have any of these materials that you all have been talking about, that you've been really expressing, and the PPC, which we know is pay-per-click, and all those terms again can be daunting because you're focused on first really launching your business and making sure it gets off the ground, and then you get to a point, like I said earlier in my intro, where you want to get to the next level. So how do you get started? Like, how do it can be just so overwhelming. How do you get started? And again, anyone can answer that question.
Let me take it my part, because my part's easy. As I like the easy stuff. Like we're talking about, people are growing their businesses on TikTok, which is kind of like TikTok if you're talking about content. And I've been spending a lot of time, talking about aesthetic and how stuff looks. TikTok's like the antithesis of that. It's like the opposite. It could look, as raw and rugged as possible, and it could expand. So get started with your cell phone. You probably have a cell phone if you're in this chat and you're a business owner. You probably have a cell phone. Get started with that. If you don't, because before you come spend money with me, I probably would want you to go speak to Jennifer and make sure you have a home, because it's like this. It's like an ecosystem of content, right? Your website is your home. Social media is like where you hang out, and your video, your content is like an extension of you. It's when you're asleep, your content is out there representing you. And then Jeff is like your currency. You know what I mean? You can't go into the hangout spot without paying the cover fee. If you want to get drinks, you got to pay for it. So like the thing is, start from yourself. That's where you start. And being that most of us have cell phones, that's the beginning of content. You want people to know about your business, turn your phone around and tell them, and post that on your platforms, because you could generate a small amount of I want to say organic. You can find your audience a little bit organically, and then you'll have some data, some insight on what your goals are. Okay, this is my audience. I need to find more of those. Also to answer that question, yeah, you can focus on a niche, because to you it looks small, but there's, what is it, 300 million, like there's a lot of people here. And that niche that seems small, think about it, 10,000 people supporting your company is a small niche. You'll probably be to the moon, as everyone's saying right now. You're to the moon as far as a company. So to Tamika, yeah, you start with yourself and what you have, what resources you already have. And yeah, that's my part.
I love it. I love it. That puts the onus on you. helps you put your, get your toe in the water. And again, if one were to take that cell phone and practice and launch their own video, they'll get used to some of the, they'll become more aware of what you need to put together a good video. So when they come to you, Donnell, to ask for a more complex video, they at least have a starting point. So I love that idea. Another question here, and this is probably going to be our final question, is what role does social media play in client acquisition? And anyone can answer that. What role does social media play in client acquisition?
Well, it can be two ways. I mean, there's the organic route where you're not paying for advertising. You're just building up a following through, non-paid advertising. So you have a business profile on LinkedIn or Facebook. You're posting constantly. You're engaging with your comments. You're looking up hashtags and you're commenting on like individuals and like businesses, and hopefully to garner followers that way. For client acquisition, there's a multitude of ways that can work from a paid standpoint. You can run campaigns that are optimized towards increasing your follower count. Again, technically that could be client acquisition, but we have seen over time, it doesn't tend to draw the most engaging user. Some people chase a follower number. So if someone comes to their page, they see they have 80K likes. Maybe this is something a lot of people like. Let me get behind it. People understand now a follower number is meaningless without the engagement to follow. So if you have 100,000 followers and 80 likes on your posts, it's probably not the right audience for you. So for client acquisition, depending what your end goal is, it really differs how that would be set up. If it's a traditional, exchanging of goods and services for money on an e-com site, a lot of that is going to be based on pixels. We will do a lot to put pixels down your site, understand who's getting to your page, find individuals that carry a lot of similarities like them, go even a step further, who's going to your add to cart, find individuals not only getting to your site, but have a high propensity to make a purchase. And you also just tailor your messaging differently as you get further down the funnel. So an awareness messaging is going to be very different. It's going to be very welcoming, just speaking to what your brand does. If you're really focusing on just making that end purchase, it might be a little more specific to, hey, you left something behind. Here's free shipping. Here's 5% off to complete your purchase. So it can have a multitude of answers. If you wanted to set up a call, whoever had that question, happy to talk you through the specifics on what the specific client acquisition goal is, and then go from there, because it can really just go a multitude of different ways.
Got it. And as a follow-up, and I promise this is really the last question, as a follow-up, someone asked about Clubhouse. So can someone talk about Clubhouse and how businesses or nonprofits use that platform to expand their brand? I know that's relatively new, Clubhouse, so who wants to tackle that one?
I can jump in again.
Okay.
I don't talk too much, but yeah, it's like the digital version of a book club now. So I believe it's still invite only. So if someone needs an invite, I can definitely send one your way. So when you first log on, it asks you, it goes through your contacts. It'll find who you want to add. If there's people who have similar interests, it'll help suggest categories that way. But there's just a Rolodex of categories and hashtags that, let's say, for this situation, maybe that nonprofit's the Humane Society. So, a lot of categories around dogs, pets, making sure, rescue, adopt, make sure you're getting into categories like that. And then it'll show these rooms pop up, everything from rooms including 5,000 people to 6 people. So you can go in and just listen to a speaker. You can raise your hand where they can ask a question. You can get involved that way. And then as you build a community, you can start hosting these sessions. You can start hosting sessions from day one. But, if you want to start a point where you have 20 to 30 to 50 people joining your panels, that's probably the easiest way to do it. But you build these little groups and communities similar. Like, think about how Facebook groups works. You invite people to similar interest groups. And instead of just, corresponding through posts on there, you just say, hey, I'm hosting a panel at 7 p.m. tonight. Join if you like. It's very interactive. You can talk to a lot of like-minded people and spread your message that way.
Love it. Perfect answer. Thank you so much. So now I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to have up here, if it can come up. Maybe it didn't. I'm going to try that again. All right. Can you all see my screen? Okay. So here on the screen, I just have the contact information of our panelists. They've also put their email addresses in the chat, but I also wanted to share it here. since this is going to be recorded. So we have Donnell Durden, thank you so much. We've got Jennifer DeRosa, we've got your contact information there. And then we've got Jeff DeSimone. And so thank you all for your time. We've learned a lot, but we know we can learn a ton more. I think I would end by saying, the key points that I heard was, know your goal, do your research, and then just jump in there. Just jump in there and try. So I thank you so much for that. And before I go, I would be remiss if I didn't share our next webinar next Thursday, May 20th. We'll be talking about the vaccine, as we've been talking about getting people back to work and getting the economy started again. We really, really do feel at the Chamber that vaccinations are a key role in that. So we're inviting all who have questions or who want to just know more about the vaccine to please tune in next week at 10 o'clock in the morning. And finally, if you want to view any of our past webinars, you can visit our YouTube page. And when this video is done recording, we will also post this video on our YouTube page. So with that, I thank you so much for your time and attention, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.